Hey, everybody, welcome to the next episode of the Dirty Christian Podcast Live. I am Drew, and I am the Dirty Christian. I have not started the actual recording of the show yet. This is just me getting prepped. So you are seeing some behind the scenes before we get started. So, let's see. Copy that. I will let you know when the episode starts. That is ready. That. Closing all of the windows. There it is. All right, that is up. And let's see. Copy that. Throw this into. Got that. It is live and it is working. It says one watching now, and I think that is me. All right, keep that up. We're going to start the show here in 5 minutes. So if you are watching, just so you guys know how this whole deal works, all you have to do is, if you want to ask a question, there is a Q&A button that you can press on the screen. You know, in fact, I'm going to go look because I've actually never known what it looks like live. So let's go. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do there. Click here to join the audience for the Hangout. Aha. Okay. Add an item from the website. I don't even know. Vote for your favorite moments. That's interesting. Interesting. So let's go to that on the YouTube. So if you're watching it, click here to join the audience for this Hangout. I thought I did that. I don't know where. I know that there is a place that you can ask questions on here. Add an item from a website. That's the showcase button. I wonder if do I need to go to Q&A? Here we go. All right, so I got Q&A open now. Let me try to refresh this and see what that looks like. Yeah, okay, well, I have actually no idea how it is you guys ask questions, but there is a Q&A thing on there, and and I'm sure you can figure out how to do that, how to ask those questions. I'll close that out there. there is some sort of option. All right, we got 3 people. I'm starting in 3 minutes. 3 minutes. I will start the show up. We're going to talk about faith, and we're going to talk about porn today. As always, ask your questions in the Q&A part. I guess you can like different things and make comments and whatnot on here as well. Showcasing stuff. I don't know. I don't know how all that stuff works. As you can see, my office has now turned into a baby room because we have a baby now. So 4 kids. And yes, I'm still alive. I'm still surviving. So, but anyway, we're going to talk about faith. We're going to talk about faith healing and prosperity gospel because that's been kind of a hot topic on the page lately. And I think talking about porn is always a good thing. I think people always need to be reminded how dangerous porn is. I'll talk about that Terry Crews video that just got posted today. So if you're here and you leave a comment, I'd like to know who you are. I like to know who's watching. You can leave a comment, tell me who you are, say hi. I try to, as most people know, I try to stay as proactive with the website as possible or in the Facebook page. So that means that usually I know or recognize names and stuff like that. So I may recognize you. And that'd be kind of cool just to know that you're here. We've had a consistent group of about 3 or 4 people watching the show as it is live. And then, many people watch it afterwards on their own time. Of course, so that's always really, really cool. And I'm just blessed, man. I tell you what, I don't know what God is doing with the Dirty Christian. I don't know what he's doing with me, but I just feel blessed to be doing this. And it really makes me happy to hear people that message me, encouraging me that I have encouraged them. And that's what it's all about. It's not about me feeling good, although it does feel good to hear good things from people. Anyway, so try not to be too sentimental about all of that. We'll start the podcast here in 1 minute. I'll do a countdown and we will begin the show. Actually, it's time to do that now. So here we go. In 3, 2, and 1. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the next episode of the Dirty Christian Podcast. I am Drew. I am also known as the Dirty Christian, and I am so grateful to have you here today. As I was last week, turn my microphone around here so I'm a little bit louder. Sorry for any of the noise if that happens. But I'm here. I am the Dirty Christian, and I am glad to have you guys here. As I have done the last couple weeks, I am live streaming this podcast, so you can watch it. And if you hear me interacting with people, that is because people are watching. And so if you're just listening to the podcast at a later time, that's why it sounds like I'm talking to myself, because I'm actually talking to other people. Check out thedirtychristian.com. Check out the Facebook page where all of the magic happens. That's facebook.com/thedirtychristian. Also youtube.com/thedirtychristian. I have videos there. I try to put up about 2 videos a week. Staying pretty consistent with that. Doing a podcast once a week as well. Keeping that going. And then the Facebook page, like I said, that's the place. That's like the community group. That's where people interact with each other. That's where people get to know each other. That's where I post questions and share stuff that I see online, because I spend a lot of time online looking at spiritual things. I have just found that God has been doing so much in my life lately. It's been incredible. And I think a lot of it has to do with the Dirty Christian. I am not anybody important. People, please stop making me to be anybody important. I'm a guy that does not have a degree in Bible. I have not been to seminary, though I am going to be going to seminary in the near future. I have not been to seminary. I do not have a theological education. I am a dude that loves Jesus, that I believe that God has given a little bit of wisdom to. And I love the Lord so much that he is the most important and the only important thing to me. I'm not trying to have a following. I am not trying to I'm not trying to start a denomination. I am a person who sucks at life most of the time, makes a lot of mistakes, and lives in God's grace all the time. In fact, so many people, I get these influxes of folks coming to the Dirty Christian page asking or stating that the name The Dirty Christian is redundant or bad or doesn't make sense or whatever. I mean, there's just, people constantly ask, why The Dirty Christian? And then when I tell them it's not like a satisfactory answer, they usually will say, well, Jesus' blood washes us clean. And it does, and I agree with that. But my typical question when someone asks me about why The Dirty Christian, I will ask them, I will say, are you a good person? Do you consider yourself a good person? If they say yes, then I will tell them that the Bible says that there is none righteous, not one. Nobody is good. In fact, our good works, as the Bible says, our righteousness is as filthy rags, which are best understood as menstrual rags. We are not good people. We as human beings on earth, until we have been made whole upon our death, upon eternal life, we are not good people. And I would ask you, so just because Jesus covers you, do you sin? If you say no, then you live a lie, because that's not true. I mean, we all sin. All have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. Even when we are at our best in our walk with Jesus, we still commit sin. That is a fact of reality. As a person living on earth, we commit sin. And if you think otherwise, I would really like to hear your thoughts and statements on that. So with all of that being said, The Dirty Christian is definitely supposed to be provocative, in the sense that I want people to see that name and to think to themselves like, okay, maybe this is different from all of the Christianity that I haven't trusted before. I want them to be interested in what The Dirty Christian is about. It's a way to get them to come in. It's a seeker sensitive, if you will. But at the same time, we are not good people. We fall short constantly. We are not we are not our best. And I think that not only that, but it's important as believers working together in the body of Christ that we get dirty with each other, that we talk about the stuff that no one else talks about, that we get dirty with those things in discipleship with one another. That's why Dirty Christian. And in fact, I'm doing a video because I want to do a video that says and describes the name of The Dirty Christian and why The Dirty Christian. So I'm asking people, if you have bought one of these shirts or sweatshirts, the ones that say I'm a terrible person and has the Dirty Christian logo on it, if you have bought one of those, I am asking if you would make a short video that just says, I am a dirty Christian. And it can be taken on your phone. I just want you to be wearing the shirt and saying, I'm a dirty Christian. I'm a dirty Christian. I'm doing a video. It's going to explain and describe to people what dirty Christians, who dirty Christians are, what dirty Christian is. And then you'll be part of that video that will be kind of used to promote this ministry. So if you're out there and you've bought one of these shirts or sweatshirts or t-shirts or whatever, take a video, send it to contact@thedirtychristian.com or PM it to the Facebook page. That would be great. The more, the better. And I would really appreciate that, because I'm really trying to I want to make it as clear as possible. I'm not saying that I'm an apostate Christian. That's not what I'm not going around there telling people that. That's not the idea of the Dirty Christian. It's just to be real about Jesus with one another, getting dirty with each other in discipleship, which I believe personally is very important. So again, if you're just joining this on the live stream, you can ask questions. There's an app on there. There should be a Q&A, join the conversation sort of thing. You can go in and submit a question to me as I'm talking, and I can see the questions and answer and respond to your questions as well. But it's nice to see the amount of people that are in here thus far. So I posted something about porn. In fact, it was for those of you guys who don't know who Terry Crews is. He is he's a celebrity. He is well known for the Expendables, White Chicks, the Old Spice commercials. He's the guy that's like really, really ripped, that plays the drums with his pectoral muscles. And he's also in the TV show Brooklyn Nine-Nine as the sergeant. He did a video. I think he released it on Thursday, and basically he came out against pornography, talking about he had a porn addiction. It basically almost ruined his marriage. He went to therapy. He went to counseling for it. And I thought it was a really cool thing, because he's a very popular celebrity. Some of the things that he said make me really think that he might actually know Jesus. Just a few of the little things that he said that I just kind of led on to me to believe that, but I don't know for sure. And, I'm not going to judge one way or the other on that, but I thought that was really cool. And then, of course, anytime that I post something about pornography, someone usually comes and comments and messages me asking for prayer and asking for help. They ask me, how did you do it? How did you quit? For those that know, I'm at about 9 months now, porn free completely. I have not gone to look at porn. I have not, if I've seen it on a TV show, I've turned away from that. And essentially I have not masturbated to pornography, and I've not intentionally gone to look for pornography for 9 months. And that, to me, is something that I never thought possible. I never thought it would be that I would be saying that. I always believed that I would be dealing with porn. I always thought that that was going to be something that was going to just be a thorn in my side for the rest of my life, because every men's group that I went to, every time I talked to another guy, they struggled with it too. And I never met anybody that was like, I've never looked at porn, or that I've stopped. And so I had just kind of resorted to like, okay, well, I'm just going to look at porn for the rest of my life. Just try not to look at it as often as I did. And then my pastor preached a sermon and basically just said flat out, in my 11, 12, 13 years of marriage, whatever it was, that I have not looked at pornography. And it just dawned on me. In fact, I had looked at pornography the night before. That Saturday night, I had looked at porn, and I was very open to confessing that to my wife. And that was just something that she, didn't like, but she knew that it was a sin for me. And she knew that that was a struggle, and that was a hard thing. That was something that I was tempted to do. And I think at some point, I know she was praying for me, but I think at some point she just kind of resolved to feel like, this is just something that Drew is going to struggle with and deal with. And so, I looked at porn that Saturday night. Sunday came, pastor said, I don't look at porn. And then it just dawned on me, like, porn has become my master. I mean, it has become something that controls me. And here's the thing, like, there is no acceptable level of looking at pornography. Like, if you look at porn, you're wrong. You are killing yourself spiritually and physically. You're destroying possibilities for a potentially good marriage, a good sex life in your marriage. You are setting yourself up for failure. And there is no justifying that, oh, I only looked at a little bit of porn, or I only started to look at a little bit of porn, or I only looked at softcore porn, or whatever. There's no excuse, period. Porn is porn is porn is porn. It's bad for you. It's bad for you, and it's sinful, and it's killing the church. It's killing men and women in the church in different and various ways. And you have to stop. If you are looking at porn and are unable to not look at porn, you have to get help. You need to get help. It's so key and important for you to do that. Get help. Seek counseling from a Christian source, your pastor, an elder in your church, sex addiction therapy led by a Christian, of course. Someone, though, it's an addiction, and this is not something you can internalize and deal with on your own. You cannot quit porn on your own. You need someone to be accountable with. You need someone to talk to. You need someone to pray with and pray for you. It's killing you. I don't know how best to describe or to emphasize how bad pornography is. It's hurting you, and it's getting to the point where I fear for my kids and their generation when they grow up after all of the porn that they've been exposed to, the amount of scientific issues that they will come across. Just erectile dysfunction alone is enough reason. Like, if I had known about that as a kid and known that my penis was going to stop working or have a hard time working, if I looked at porn, I probably would have at least thought twice about it. But I wasn't even a Christian, so I don't know if it would have even mattered. But we've made it okay. Like, our world has said it's normal for kids, it's normal for people to look at pornography, and not enough people are taking a stand. And that's why it's so great when I see guys like Terry Crews that are up there that are saying no to porn. They're saying no, that it's bad. It's I was addicted and I was in it, and it destroyed. It became something that I craved and yearned for. We have to stop, guys and girls. You have to stop. I don't know. I only speak English, so I don't know any other way to say that to you. You have to stop. You have to. It's bad. There's no excuse for it. And if you can't say no and you can't put it down, then you need help. You need to seek help, and just know that freedom from it is possible. I was able to be free from it and remain free for this 9 months. Like, I'm very glad for that. God has really, he's put the right people in my life. He's given me a wife that is very understanding. He's given me a daughter now, as of 2 weeks ago, that has changed my perspective on women, just in the 2 weeks. I mean, just in a couple days of having a daughter, just realizing, like, man, this little girl is no different than any of the other little girls that grew up and became porn actresses, that are stuck in that business, that were trapped into that business, or were kidnapped in that business. It doesn't matter, because I would say that there's such a small majority of those women that are in pornography, or even the men that want to be there. That seems like it's their only way. It's their only option in life. And that's sad, because they're trapped. So my daughter is essentially any of those other daughters. And I don't know how I would feel if I ever found out that my little baby girl was doing that and getting abused by men, and women, for people's pleasure and money. That would just destroy me. So, you got to stop porn, guys. You have to stop. You got to stop porn. You got to stop. You have to just, I don't know what method it's going to take for other people to do it. I just stopped, it just hit me. I had a revelation. But it's by God's grace alone and God's power alone that I stopped. But God tells us to be above reproach. So, like, think about how God tells pastors to be above reproach and be held accountable, right? God doesn't say, I'm going to make you above reproach. He says, you need to be above reproach. That means you have to make specific decisions in your life to have self-control and discipline. You have to have those things. That's what's going to make you a genuine man or woman of God, is having discipline and self-control. And that's a big part in quitting and stopping pornography, is enacting that self-control and having that self-control. So, by all means, send me your messages. I'm happy to have conversations with you guys about pornography, essentially why I stopped, how I stopped. I explain, it's all the same story, and I'll tell it over and over again until another person quits. But by all means, this is important. Kid Icarus, hey, welcome back to the show. And with the state of the U.S. economy, it's an illegal thing in many circumstances that just needs to stop. I mean, yes, that is true. The amount of money spent on pornography, the amount of money that pornography funds human trafficking. I mean, if we stopped looking at porn, we would stop funding the kidnapping of girls and boys from other countries to work in this sex trade. I mean, that's an economical fact. I mean, I'm not making things up, and this is a common sense thing. I'm not preaching to you out of Christianity, although that is my main motivation because of it being sin. But I mean, this is a fact of economics and science of how dangerous pornography is. There's not an excuse. There is not an excuse to go and look at porn. There's not an excuse to just look one time. There's not an excuse to make an excuse. You have to stop. We, as a generation, as men and women of God, have to stop looking at pornography. So we've talked a while on porn. I did not expect to talk that long, but I want to talk about faith here, because I posted a video yesterday about faith, and I explained, that essentially it doesn't really matter what kind of faith you have. God doesn't change. Your faith is basically your access or relationship to God, but not access in that sense, but it is kind of how you handle the things that happen in your life. But nothing that you have, no amount of faith that you have is going to change God's will. I'm going to get back into faith in a second here, but I want to talk about a couple questions just came up here. So Jonathan asks, did you use any particular programs to help you, your recovery or accountability? Also, how did you know that you were free from porn? Well, I knew that I was free. Here's the thing is I knew that I was free from porn because God says that we are free from sin. That doesn't mean that we are not going to sin, but we are free from it. By his stripes, we are healed, spiritually healed. We are no longer bound to the things that we are no longer bound and required or mandated to sin the way that we were before we were in Jesus. So upon salvation, we are free from all of those things. Now it's a matter of getting our flesh to figure that out. So, for all intents and purposes, you're made clean. You're no longer under the obligation of sin because it doesn't control you. However, now you have to get your flesh to catch up. And that's why the Bible talks about turning your thoughts captive to Christ and being transformed by the renewal of your mind. So that's how I knew. It was just a matter of catching that up to me in God. And there wasn't a specific moment where I was like, oh, I'm free. It was just like I came to a knowledge of this has no control over me. God is bigger than this. God doesn't want me in this way. And so I'm going to finally it dawned on me. It was a BFO, as I like to say, a blinding flash of the obvious. I figured it out and I stopped, and I just stopped. I was done. And like I said, 9 months later, here I am. I can still say beyond a shadow of doubt that I have not looked at pornography and masturbated. And I am so grateful for that. God is just amazing. I hope that answers your question. Rachel asks, did you find out that you were having another baby before or after you made your choice? In fact, it was after we found out that we were having a baby after I had already made that choice and decided that I was done with porn. In fact, let's see. I'm trying to, my timeline as a married man, my timelines are never right or accurate. So, here's what I can say is, I knew I was free from porn. There was a point in time where after that, my wife and I were talking about adopting. We were looking into that. And then we heard from the Lord about that. Basically, we were going to be pregnant with a girl. And then that came to fruition and happened. So it just having the daughter further solidified the fact that, and I think that God had prepared my heart up to that point that I was getting ready to have a daughter. If I had been into pornography as much, I don't know what that effect would have been with a daughter, but I just know that I didn't, I haven't looked at it, and that having a daughter is even further made that easier for me to not want to look at porn. Any advice? I'm single and seeking a godly woman. Any advice on balancing that with serving God? Yes, absolutely. I'm so glad that you asked this, true believer, because this is my story. When I got saved, I knew I needed a wife. Paul talks about, I'd rather you marry than burn. Obviously, your desires are there. The Bible says a man who finds a wife finds a good thing. I knew that as a believer, I needed a wife. I needed somebody to be accountable with and married to. And so I prayed. And so what I did was I prayed. I wrote out my prayer. I wrote it all out, and I prayed about it. And I said, God, I give this to you. And that was it. I didn't focus on it. I didn't think about it. Because the problem was that I was constantly looking at women and constantly like, oh, maybe she's going to be my wife, or maybe she's going to be my wife, and I would look and be like, God, which one is going to be my wife? Which was a distraction because it was keeping me from the word. It was keeping me from doing what God was wanting me to do. So when I finally wrote the prayer out and I gave it to God and I said, here it is, God, I'm done. I'm not going to worry about it anymore. I'm going to focus on you. I'm telling you, it wasn't about a month. It was less than a month later that I met my wife that I am married to, my one and only wife. So I would just say that's the best advice that I could give you is to make your requests known to God, and don't focus on those requests. Believe that God hears them, because he does, and then move on and continue to serve God, because that's the last thing that he wants you to do is to get stuck or caught up trying to keep reinventing your prayers to him. All right, Martin asks, what's up? I was wondering how you experience joy of knowing, trusting, and loving Jesus. It seems to me that in many videos you're not smiling. It's not necessary to smile, but I think it's a huge way to point to Jesus. I may be wrong, though. Yeah, I agree. I think, smiling is good. To me, I think I just don't smile that much. I'm not angry, and I'm not sad about anything. I just don't smile. Like, I smirk, you know what I mean? I think honestly, like, if I can be totally honest with you guys, like, I'm a little self-conscious of my smile because I feel like my gums show a little bit, and that's kind of like one of those body image things. But there's nothing wrong with smiling. In fact, I probably should smile more. People tell me I have a nice smile, but it just looks like this, and it's a smirk, and that's about it. But I do experience joy in knowing. I mean, I have such peace. To me, that's where a lot of the joy comes from, is that peace that I have knowing that God is in control, and I know him. And so I have a lot of joy just in that. And it's just it's an internal joy where I don't have the craziness going on internally. But certainly, I mean, there are, I think a lot of the things that I see in the world, they make me sad. And I think that makes it hard sometimes to feel joy, is because of the sadness that I feel towards the way that the world is. And towards the way that the Christians are too, like, I mean, I get really bent out of shape thinking about the state of Christianity sometimes. But thank you, Martin, for saying that, and I appreciate that. And I do, trust me, I know you only get to see snippets of my life in the 2 or 3 minutes of my videos and stuff, but I do smile and laugh a lot, and I feel like I have a relatively decent sense of humor. So rest assured, I'm not a curmudgeon, and I'm not a grumpy old man. All right, so again, if you have more questions, usually when I end the podcast, I keep recording or keep doing the live show for a few more minutes so we can talk and ask questions after the show. So I've got a few more minutes, and I want to talk about faith again real quick because I posted something about faith and how I feel like it's incredibly evil. Anybody who preaches the idea that you have to have faith in order to be healed, or healing and wealth is a measure of your faith. And I mean, here's the deal. I mean, I think that God uses people to heal. I think that I believe in healing. I believe very much that is part of what God desires. But I believe that healing comes to those that further God's will. I mean, like, and it's not like you have to meet this standard and then God's going to heal you. That's the only way I can wrap my head around the idea that some get healed and some don't. Because if you say that your healing is dependent on your faith and your faith is dependent on your healing, then what about those who die? And what about those who get sick with cancer and die, or, irreversible conditions like that? So to me, that's a terrible thing for you to tell people. I don't want them to, I don't want people to have that mindset. And I think that God's will is going to get done, whether we are on board with it or not. And God has already preordained healing. Now, I know people get way bent out of shape with predestination and preordained, but I think that God has preordained healing for those that are needed to further his plan, his ultimate plan for the redemption of the world and the destruction of sin. And I think that that's why some people don't get healed. It has nothing to do with their amount of faith. God's plan is going to take priority over what our desires are. So to me, that's it. I mean, that's faith. I believe that obviously God has given us all a measure of faith. I believe faith is important. Faith is the subject of things hoped for, and the evidence of things not seen. Faith is good. Belief is good, but they are not requirements or prerequisites for healing and wealth and stuff like that. So let's see. Scolier Ramier. Okay. I don't see a question. It just says when you have time to answer. So if you want to repost that question again, I can answer it. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to close out the recorded podcast, and I'm going to keep going with the Hangout so you guys can continue to ask me questions for a few more minutes, and then we'll move on and close that out too. So I'm going to close the podcast here. Stick around if you're watching. Just hang on 1 second. Thank you for joining the podcast. God bless you guys. I'm The Dirty Christian. Check out thedirtychristian.com, facebook.com/dirtychristian. Same with YouTube. Find me on Twitter @TheDirtyXIAN. That's the same with Snapchat. Get involved with the conversation, guys. Email me at contact@thedirtychristian.com if you have questions, comments, or concerns. I love you. God bless you. Dirty Christian, I'm out. All right. So podcast recording is over. And now it's just us. It's me and you and the computer screen in front of you. So ask away your questions. I've got, like I said, a few more answers. True Believer, thanks for the answer, Drew. My focus on my singleness just makes me miserable. I need to focus on God and be ready to make use of an opportunity to ask a suitable girl out. That's good. And I would just pray that God brings that right person into your life. I mean, that's what he did for me. I'm not saying that God works every story out the same way. but I think that that's just one that, our testimonies are used for encouragement for each other and as examples. So by all means, I think you're on the right path, and I'm very thankful that you asked that question. I'm very grateful for that. So again, don't forget, you can get on there and ask questions if you want, or don't, which is fine as well. I'm just going to sit here for a little bit longer, wait for your questions to pop up. And so I'm going to stretch. I went and worked out today, so I had a good moment to work out. The wife was shopping, and I've been on vacation for a while. What has been the main thing that you learned via Hardcore Christian Gamer? That's a good question. So what True Believer is asking is, back in about, 2005 time frame, I created a group called the Hardcore Christian Gamers. And it was a video game ministry community where we did reviews and game nights, and we had like clan matches, and we played together a lot. In fact, we played together like all the time. And sorry, I'm taking my beanie off now. So we played together a lot, and that went away because I ended up selling the brand to a buddy that was part of the group as well. And so when that went by the wayside, I started. I went away from that for a while, and then so we did that for about 5 years, I think. Did podcasts like every week. Had a great community. People were meeting each other, becoming friends and stuff. And when I went, I got stationed in Florida on a ship, and I wasn't able to maintain the website anymore in the community. And so I got out here. When I finally come out and moved to Washington, I really desired to start that back up again. And so I created Geeks Under Grace, which was the hat that I was wearing. I don't know if you guys noticed, but that's the community that I started before the Dirty Christian. But to answer your question, what did I learn from that? I learned that I can't do everything by myself, because I basically ran Hardcore Christian Gamer by myself. I needed a staff of people to help that had the same mindset as I. And so when I started Geeks Under Grace, we got that, and that became a reality. So, for me, that was, that's probably the thing that I learned the most, is I can't do it alone. So of course, man. And you're absolutely welcome. He says, my efforts in Hardcore Christian Gamer, Geeks Under Grace, and the Dirty Christian have really helped you. Well, I am grateful for that. That's what I do this for. I do this so other people are helped and get encouraged. All right. Scolier, he says, he or she, I'm sorry. I know you. Okay. I had a slightly stressful discussion about modesty and how hard it is for men to guard their minds. Is the blame completely on the man, or does the woman take partial blame? I know you can't hold non-Christian women up to Christian morals. I think society is to blame for a lot of that. I think, we've sexualized so many things. Is that going to go away? No. I mean, I think we take a stand against it and, stop promoting stuff that is hypersexualized. But I don't think it's just the man's fault. But you're right. I mean, you can't hold a non-Christian woman accountable. I think we have to proclaim righteousness and promote the things that are of God, and people will hopefully respond to that. But a lot of the lust really does. I mean, unless the woman is walking around naked, really a lot of the lust falls on the responsibility of the guy not to lust. So for me, I think that, that needs to be his self-control portion. And I hope that answers your question. Sorry, shift enter usually goes a lane down instead of send, and it's not just pronounced like it looks. No long vowels. I am a guy. Okay. So he is a guy, and I hopefully answered your question. You can't hold non-Christians up to Christian standards. You can only do something with what you have and what you're available to. And there's a character in the Bible known as Shamgar, and there's a lesson to be learned about his story. If you've never heard of Shamgar, basically the lesson to come out of it is that you have to make do sometimes with what you have. Do what you can with what you have. And I believe that God gives us the abilities, just like I was able to abstain from porn. God gave me that ability, and he also gives me the power. I just have to get that whole mind renewal thing going, and then be able to go from there with self-control. All right. That's all the questions so far. I haven't seen another one come in. I'm going to wait a couple more minutes, but then I got to go because I got to pick up my kids from school. If you guys haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel yet, please do that. I do try to post videos like twice a week, usually. Sometimes more, sometimes less. Then, of course, these videos go on to YouTube as well, so you can rewatch it again, listen to it in your drive, on your drive to work, or in your car, or just when you're playing video games or whatever. I actually watch or listen to podcasts while I'm playing games. I usually have them playing in the background. So I'm going to give it just a few more minutes here before I close out from the Hangout. But I do appreciate real good showing today from the viewers. Good questions, and I just really I really appreciate that. It's exciting to know. It's a little bit of pressure, but I think it holds me accountable. What am I currently playing? Well, against my better judgment, I'm still playing Fallout 4. That I cannot quit playing it, even though I've beaten the main storyline. I'm keep going back through and just trying to level up as much as I can. And I actually started back up playing Watch Dogs again on PlayStation. It was one of those games that I enjoyed, even though a lot of people didn't like it. I started playing that game again, and probably gonna at least try to finish it. But I got a ton of games that I need to even play and catch up on. I still love Call of Duty. I still love Halo. I still love Rainbow Six. And you can catch me on those as well. All right, what if it's a Christian woman? Her argument was that she can dress how she wants, and it's the guy's fault. Well, I would use the argument of doing something to cause your brother to stumble. Now, the Bible in the New Testament talks about dressing modestly. So if she's not going to listen to that, I don't know what she's going to listen to. But it's very clear that modest dress for women is important, and that is in the New Testament. But also Paul says, don't do things to cause your brother to stumble. Now, if you are a Christian man approaching a Christian woman, telling her that, like, hey, listen, the things that you're wearing are causing me to stumble, the responsibility is now on her. You still have to have self-control, but the Christian thing to do, the godly thing, the standards that God has given us, the thing to do would be to not dress that way, because, it's the same with drinking. If I know, like, I feel like I have freedom in Christ to have a beer, and have no problem with that, and don't consider that, I don't feel condemnation over that. But if a good friend of mine doesn't drink, and it's something that he struggles with, I'm not going to go drink with him, and I'm not going to drink in front of him. That's just a thing, because I don't want to cause my brother to stumble. In fact, when I had posted on the Facebook page, I said cheers a couple weeks ago with me in a beer in hand. I actually took that down and apologized for that, because I felt like that probably wasn't the right attitude. I don't want to cause somebody to stumble. And so it may or may not have, but I don't want it to. So, I mean, ultimately that's sin. That sin is on her if she's going to do that. I know what you mean about Fallout. I get that way with Bethesda games, so I had to keep myself in check. Yeah. Well, the problem is that I just keep playing that game. Like I don't branch out to other games because I just want to keep playing Fallout 4. But it is fun. I mean, I sided with the Institute, and I don't know if you've played it yet, but sided with the Institute. Now I'm just kind of running around doing things like, all these little side missions and trying to find things like, because, in those games, you can just like run across an area and start up a mission like that you didn't even know existed. So it's like, oh, cool, side quest. So that's what I'm doing, just kind of playing through it. It's fun. Like I just want to level up. I just like, that's my, my OCD is like, I just got to keep playing to level up. But there's too many good games coming out this year that I got to get ready for. So, that's my, that's my hobby. That's the one, like my passion is ministry. My passion is God and in godly things in Christianity, but my hobby is gaming. I mean, I really enjoy playing video games. In fact, I started a Dirty Christian community on PlayStation. So if you play on the PS4, you can search for the Dirty Christians and join up with me in the community and possibly play with me. I usually just play single player games on PlayStation, but I do play on the Xbox as well. I'm playing it. Only got to as far as Nick Valentine's story. Also want to clear my gaming backlog. Yeah, I know I need to as well. All right. Well, I think that may do it. But again, thank you guys for joining. Really good show today and good show out. So thank you guys so much. God bless you guys. Have a great rest of your week. New video is going to be coming out. Tomorrow is Wednesday. So new video is going to drop on YouTube tomorrow. So make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel and share the videos. That's the only way that people get to know about the Dirty Christian is people sharing the content from the site and the channel. So somebody says, hold up. I guess he's got a question. I can wait. This guy's desperate to ask. So, all right. You're welcome for clearing up the gray area for you. All right, Tommy, I'm going to give you a few minutes to ask your question. You said to hold up. So get a few more minutes, then I got to go because I said I got to pick up my kids from school. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait with bated breath for your question here. Oh, I'm going to stretch again. I'm waiting. In the meantime, people are going to ask other questions, and then I'm going to be stuck having to answer. My kids are going to be lost and sad. They won't be. They'll be fine. Hey, Eric. Hello to you as well. I'm glad you made it. You can go back and watch this. It's going to be available for you to watch. So make sure, if you want to check it out, you can get back on there and watch the other ones. But I'm waving hello to you too. How long have I been playing these games? I've been playing video games for a very long time. But if you're asking specifically how long I've been playing Fallout, I've probably put a couple 100 hours into it. Like, it's sad, but like that is, like I said, that's my hobby. So I've put a lot of time into Fallout 4, and Watch Dogs probably not as much time. But like I said, that like the one thing that I like some people like to play chess or like watch sports and stuff. Video games are what I do. That's my hobby. And I'm thinking that might be your question. So I gotta go, guys. I love you. Thank you so much. Now I got 10 people in here and I have to leave. Check out the page and subscribe to the YouTube channel And make sure, you guys check back next week. We're going to have another show, another live show. You can come in and ask your questions. Again, email me, contact@thedirtychristian.com if you have any further questions, or you can PM me on the Facebook page, and I do answer PMs. So love you guys. God bless you. I'm going to go now. Take care. Dirty Christian out.